Hello, hello everyone. Jacqueline Jax. How are you? I am teaching you all about brushes today. I hope you will enjoy this because it was actually a question that came up just recently on the group page. So if you haven't been to the watercolor group page, I suggest you go over there because there is a lot of stuff to learn. And I'm kind of excited about this particular thing because in the classes that I teach at jacquelinejax.com, we do lots of florals and landscapes and all kinds of really fun projects, right, in the sketchbooks. But we never there are a few lessons, I have to say, on what brushes do within those things, but I don't talk about a lot on YouTube. And I thought this was actually a pretty good thing to go over because there's a lot of art that I do and you see a lot of brushes, but I don't think I actually speak about it here or on the Facebook group page. So perhaps you guys might enjoy me talking about how to use your brushes. Now, I do believe that there is a lesson on this within the watercolor sketchbook for beginners class. So if you want to check out that class, certainly go and check out that class because that one is awesome and has a lot of really cool paintings in it and just things to start with, when you're just getting started, just getting out of the box. So I don't know. I think there's a lot there for you to learn. So anyway, how do you do all these things? They're all different brushes. And do you need all different brushes? Well, let's just think about that for a second because sometimes you really don't. Sometimes you can get away with, especially in the beginning, just a few key brushes, right? Mainly like a round brush. There are certain ones that I could probably guide you through, like right now, right here, and I think that I will. Let's get going, shall we? Because I have some little guides that perhaps would be very, very helpful in this circumstance and situation. Oh, let's make sure my color's right. I think it looks a little oversaturated. Just a bit, don't you think? I don't know, maybe it's the brightness. Oh no, the colors are always really, really bright, but it just depends on what I'm looking at, I think. All right, so let's go over here. Let's do this one and let's do this one. There you go. All right, so choosing the right brush, how do we do it? Oh my goodness, so many brushes and so little time. Okay, well, let's see. So, what would you need as a beginner? Well, I would recommend, and I think some of the most useful brushes to have as a beginner would be the Neptune brushes and the Aqua Elite brushes because they're accessible, they're easy to find. I use these, and I also use a lot of the Escoda brushes. As you may or may not know, I'm a big Escoda brush girl because I like the quality of the Escoda. But again, some of you can't find the Escoda or you don't want to go through Jackson's to get it, which is where I linked up below because I get everything at Jackson's and I love them. You know me. If you've watched me often, you know I talk a lot about the Escoda Versatile size 10 in this long, round, pointed brush. And it's like my favorite brush. I have it in several sizes. But there are some brushes in the Aqua Elite and Neptune line that are fabulous. And I think that you should end up with a Skoda for sure because there are some values to these brushes and they don't wear out. And I think that they last a lot longer. And I don't really think that they're more expensive. It's just a different brush make, a different brush line. And they're a lot heavier, right? Like a lot different in the hand. But there are some great deals on these brushes. And the Neptune line by Princeton, it's a really great line. And I reach for them so often just because I have so many of them. I mean, I literally have, listen, when I say I have like every one of them, I seriously have all of these. These are all just Neptune brushes, right? The ones with the sea glass handles and the flats. I have the regular flats. I have lots of sizes in them, and I pretty much have the whole collection of them. So I'm very familiar with them, and I use them all the time. What do I use them for? They're great for glazing. So the Aqua Elite are terrific for glazing in the different styles. The Neptune are terrific for watercolor, just in general. So a lot of you guys have probably picked up in the beginning the cheapest brush that they make, which is this one, the Velvet Touch set. It's a great set. It really is. It's very inexpensive, but it doesn't hold hardly any water. So I think that overall, this is a very difficult brush to use. Unless you're just doing very, very small little light layers, then yeah, it's fine because you don't need a lot of water on your brush. But to do something like this, let me move these over. To do something like you're seeing in my sketchbooks, you can't use this brush to do this at all. It just won't do it. It won't do any of these things. It will only do probably like this kind of detailed work, because it doesn't have a lot of water in it. So you're just going to be loading the brush and then doing very light layers and loading the brush and doing very light layers. But you also have to load the brush a zillion times. So these are useful, but I use them actually just for like maybe getting into a little corner or something, or removing paint, because they're really, to me, they're not really any better than the snap brushes, which are just all mixed media brushes. So I don't know what's cheaper, but the snap brushes are identical to the Velvet Touch in my view. They just don't hold water. So they weren't meant to be watercolor brushes. A lot of people will say, oh, I use these. These are great. They're great, but depends on what you're painting and what your paintings need to come out like. So eventually you're going to learn that you need a real watercolor brush. And my best advice is to go right over to Escoda and buy Escoda brushes. But some of you might not have access to Escoda brushes, or they might be really pricey in your area. If that is the case, let's look at the Princeton Neptune and the Aqua Elite, because they are fabulous brushes. They really don't wear out fast unless you're using one every single day. And even this one, which I use for every single swatch I do, it's still doing well. Surprisingly, it hasn't. I beat this brush, really beat this brush up. So it's still good. It's got a little bit warping, but not really, considering how much it gets used. Okay, so let's take a look here. I'm going to use my Mission Gold paints because, as you know, they're having a watercolor sale over at Jackson's. So just want to let you know that Mission Gold is on sale. So I did all of the swatches of all of my colors so that I could replenish ones that I love by Mission Gold and do it during the sale. So really excited. So move on over there if you're looking for some watercolor, and go check out Mission Gold because they are such a wonderful paint. I really like it. I like it for the layering properties and the range. So like I usually do Sennelier a lot, and Sennelier has gorgeous phthalo turquoise, phthalo greens, the best phthalos I've ever seen. But at the same time, Mission Gold has a peacock, which is a mix of PG7 and phthalo green or phthalo blue that is just to die for. So like the quality is there on both Sennelier and Mission Gold. Mission Gold's made in Korea. Sennelier is made in France. So you can't go wrong with either one of those if you like just something that just does everything from glazing to florals to smooth application, nice washes. Both of those are excellent. I do want to let you know that as far as Sennelier, you can get these really great tins of Sennelier for very little money, and you can change the tins into panned tins. Now, just a FYI, I'm working with a company out of Germany and designing an insert, 2 inserts actually, to fill these tins with, so we don't have sliding pans, even with magnets, mine still slide. So I've designed 2 inserts and a mixing palette to go inside this little tin, and I'm so excited about it because I wanted to put something in this tin forever, and I love to use it for watercolor because you can really just take it anywhere with you, and it's just such a cute, adorable tin that I'm really excited to design something that goes in there. So I've been working with them for a couple of weeks, and we should have something to show you very, very soon, hopefully. Okay, so those are my recommendations for paint right now. If you use my Jackson's affiliate link and you haven't shopped there before, you'll get an extra 10% off on top of the sale. And that would be like maybe, I think just using a new email, you can get the 10% off. And then what was I going to say? There's a lot of other stuff on sale, and I did a video about that just yesterday. So go check out that other video. All right, so look on the screen. On the screen, you see some brushes, right? Let's go through them really quickly here. So first, the round. Pretty basic brush. I'm over here. Rounds, very, very easy to find. They're in every set, and they come in every size. What looks like a round is like this. They can be a pointed round, where it's a little longer and pointed. They can be a shorter round with a big fat belly. I highly recommend that you get one with a big fat belly. If you get a round that is very, very thin and small, it will not hold enough water to paint watercolor. So unless you're painting these teeny weeny little inch paintings, you really want something that has a point on it and a nice amount, of water to be held, right? You want it to hold a decent amount of water. So you can see these Neptunes do a great job at that, because even at the small Neptune, it holds a decent amount of water. And the Aqua Elite, built for watercolor, because it is a very pointed one for detail, it holds equals amount of water and color. So it gives you like a high saturation, not a ton of water in the retention, but they built it with an extra big belly. So it is meant for watercolor. That's what you don't see in ones that are like mixed media brushes, not meant for watercolor, right? As far as my Escoda rounds, I have tons of them. I have really big rounds like this size 16, and all the way down to like smaller rounds like the 4s and the 6s. These, as you can tell, these are majorly built for watercolor. I mean, they are serious brushes. They are huge. And like if you take this size 6 and you compare it to the size 6 in the Neptune, they are very close. Can you see that? Very, very close. This one's just more weighted. It has a bigger grip, but they are very close brushes. Slightly, just slightly bigger, right? Now, in performance, this one holds way more water than this one does. I don't know what it is about the bristles. They're both synthetic. They're both meant to be synthetic squirrel. So the Escoda Ultimo is the synthetic squirrel, and the Neptune is the synthetic squirrel version of that brush. They just hold way, way more water. So let's take a look here, and I'll make some notes so that I can do a scan and put this out on the group page later. But hang on, I have to kind of flip back and forth and give you views. There we go. Let's make this a little smaller. And am I bright enough? I don't know what's going on with my brightness tonight. I think I might. There we go. So for the round brush, so we have the Neptune versus the Escoda. And they're both size 6, right? And these are the Ultimo, which is the synthetic squirrel, and the Neptune by Princeton, which is also the synthetic squirrel. Okay, so we're going to wet them. Let's grab some beautiful color here from Mission Gold. This one is a gorgeous color. So this one I'm painting with is Quin Permanent Magenta. It's like my favorite pink. Here's the Escoda. So what I would do, some of the things that you can do with a round is, one is you can do like these nice little shapes, right? Maybe I should get you a little closer. Let's see. I have the ability to do that. My adjuster is like blinking out on me really quick. Hang on. There we go. Okay, move down. Nifty, huh? I have all kinds of weird things going on in my panel. So the round makes from the point to the tip, it's going to give you these different shapes, right? Which is wonderful because you can literally build out flowers with these lovely brushes. You also can do things like this, like texture with these brushes. Rinse it out, grab a second color like let's just grab some yellow. So you can do texture. You can also do, now I need to get my pink back. Let's get another pink. This next pink is, that was lemon yellow. Next pink is quin violet. So even with the tip of the brush, you can do these nice strikes and build them up, for different things. So depending on what you're painting, if you need texture, you can still get texture with a big brush. Now the benefit to this is it's got a tip, but it also has a big belly. So you see how much color it holds. And at the same time, I literally could paint so much and I will not run out of color on this brush, you know? So that's a huge benefit because you could just keep building up the layers and the textures and adding colors, right? So like if I wanted to add like a blue to my mix here before everything dries, I literally, it has enough water on it that a brush with enough water allows you to layer. And as it adds water to the color, it's going to re-wet some of the other layers, allowing them to blend like that on paper. And that is a really, really handy thing, I think, to have as a beginner, is to have the ability to not only, do these things. Now, also this brush can do dry brush effects. So if you're doing like water or, different things, you can mix in different colors and do dry brush effects with these different colors. Don't you just love Mission Gold paints? They're so beautiful. So dry brush effects, Ultimo, great brush, right? They come in travel brushes. I like the travel brushes. I think they're adorable and I can put them in my palettes, but I have all kinds of them. So that's a great brush. Now let's look at the Neptune 6, the same size and the same brush, and I can give you my thoughts on it. Again, a wonderful brush. So I'm going to take the next pink, which is, these are so wet stuff because I just poured them. This is Crimson Lake. So loading the brush up, I can already tell right now this brush is lighter in the hand, really super light. And it doesn't hold as much color. And you can see when I lay it down, it's a much thinner stroke because the belly is not built out like that. Like on the Escoda lines, the difference is they fill this area with a lot more hair and then they taper the brush, where here they just don't fill it with as much hair and they make it a little slightly longer. So this one will do less than the Escoda brush does just because of the size, but at the same time, you can do like just the front part of the strikes. For texture, yep, it does texture. It's just a little slightly different texture. It's not as wet, so because it doesn't have that extra belly, so you don't tend to get the same results, but you get similar results, and they're still very good results. And as far as this, already I'm running out of water on my brush, meaning that at this point in time, I have to reload the brush because now you can see it's dry brush already, where before we had plenty on the brush. So I have to actually dip it back in water and it's going to dilute the paint. The paint's going to start getting lighter. And if you notice, it's less brush control. You see how there's like less control over what I'm doing? It's kind of random. Like the other one, I could get the even strikes because it was a little firmer. This one, it's not as controlled. But again, it's still a great brush, right? it's just like there's a workaround. So I loaded with more color, and I'm trying to get as soft as strikes as I can, but it is a little bit more difficult, than the first one. So once you reach that point where it does dry brushing really great because it doesn't hold a lot of water. So I literally can load this up and dry brush away, and get a lot of really cool effects with it. So there is a value to using every single brush you have. You can find ways to use every single one of them. I can, you know. So there's the difference, like right there. There's a lot of difference. The other one delivered a lot more water. This one has just less water. Now, if you went up a size, what would happen is it would be good, but you'll get less of a point. So this will be better for washes. So like the point, I'll show you, just it will be okay. But it does not deliver as much water. I always had this issue with these brushes, but I like them now. There we go. So I had to reload it with water and paint in order to get it to give me these nice little lines. And that would be probably, I would say, the size 8 is more equivalent to what you can do with the size 6 in the Ultimo Escoda. But you see how similar they are, but like still this looks so much larger than the Escoda, yet the Escoda performs better for me. I can do more with the Escoda. It's more flexible, but at the same time, this is great too. It's just lighter brush, lighter in the hand, and you have to have more sizes in order to, to switch up and get different effects. Okay, so that's a round. Great brush to have. And whether it's a pointed round or one of the regular rounds, they're all wonderful. The pointed round, of course, I think the big difference is that when you lay it down, of course, you're going to get like these really long stripes, and it's an Aqua Elite brush, so it's like a lot more stiff, right? So you can get a lot of these nice wispy kind of things going on with this brush. However, you notice that they're dry brush wisps. These aren't going to be like striper wisps where they're full tone. These are very broken, so it's a different texture, a different effect with this brush. So I would use this one for when I want dry brushing, like this kind of texture, but like in a much more dry brush effect. Another thing that I've done with this brush that I really like to do is fun is load it with 2 colors. So one side I'll load one color and the other side I'll load another color. And I literally will kind of lay it down and then roll it because I know I'm going to get those dry brush effects. It doesn't hold a lot of water no matter what I do. And I can literally do those really crazy fun layers for those flowers that you always see me do. This brush I find is so easy to do that with. It's cool, right? And it's literally like one stroke. It takes nothing. So every brush has such a purpose. Can I do the leaves with it? I kind of can. There's a workaround to it. So if you notice, I'm pressing and dragging and then rolling, and I still kind of get this weird petal at the end. It's just the way the brush is built. So you kind of have to go back and go the other route with it. Where, let's take another. So this one is the, where's my pen? So this is the long round. Size 12. And I know that I have lessons like these in the courses. I believe it is in the, yeah, it is. It's in the Watercolor Sketchbook for Beginners class because I go over brushes extensively. Like you get a ton of brush lessons in there. So if I go back to like, let's do the Ultimo because I know this is going to do it really well. So say I load 1/2 with either color. And so here's my Ultimo. And I want to do that nice pattern. Depending on the size of the brush, of course, it's going to give, that length right there. But you can always go back and do more layers. I feel like I'm painting a lesson from the spontaneous watercolor class. I know we did a lot of really cool spontaneous watercolor florals in that class that was fun like this. And let's try a leaf. So I'm going to have enough water on my brush, not too much because this is really wet. And I come out just a little bit. I lay the belly down and just kind of pull it across and then roll it out to a tip. And so much better, right? Much better look and much like a way more even delivery of color, water. There's no fading like here. It just kind of didn't really give it the color and the water delivery that I was expecting. So I had to go back and strike it again. Not a terrible look, but not as nice, I don't think, or as smooth or as neat looking, but still, it still does a great job. So it is part technique and it's part like experience and working with your brushes and just practicing things like this, but still, I love the hand of these. The handle of these are great. So like, you can get the same effects with less expensive brushes and get these brush packs and they'll work just fine. But eventually I still would, in the back of your mind, know that you're going to want to move up on certain brushes to the Ultimo, or the Versatile. So let's go with another one. Let's talk about the Script brush. The Script brush is a very popular brush for me because if you followed me a long time, I talk all the time about my Script brush. So this is a Versatile size 10 by a Skoda, and this brush is crazy. It's huge, but wait till you see what it does. And I'm going to get out the Neptune brushes, which I do like a lot, but of course, look at the belly on this brush compared to these. And you're going to see the performance on this brush right now as compared to these. So first, let's take the Script size 1. It is a long script with no belly. Okay, so some scripts will have bellies, some won't. Some liner brushes will have bellies. I don't know why, because they're liner brushes. They're not really supposed to. But this one has like a flat tip, and it's so much different than their script. Like if you look, this is Princeton, and they're a little different color. The Princeton 1 script and the Princeton 4 script, both of the Neptune line, but I think either they made improvements and they made the belly larger, and that's the darker color brush, or this is just like the one is just not supposed to have a belly. I don't know. But if you notice, the better script brushes for me have the bellies. Now, a lot of you are going to say, oh yeah, but I can't control it. You just need to learn it, right? Because yes, this belly, this is like no belly. So watch, I have water in the brush. And I'm going to start building up some texture here. And I'm already out of paint and water. So now I have to reload. So it's now like just really, 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 really wispy, which is good, right? Because if you wanted this, this is easy to get it. And it holds surprisingly enough. But if you notice now it's at this point where it's not giving me much of anything at all. But then I could use it just to kind of scrape the rest of the color here and actually get something different. But that's that brush. So we're going to go into the next one. So that's what that will do, right? Go a little bit bigger in the size 4, you get a larger belly. So this is the size 1 in the Neptune. Script. This is the size 4 in the Neptune. And then this will be the size 10 in the Escoda. Okay. So loading in with the water holds way more water and thus way more paint. And you can see already how much brighter, how much more bold we get just by using this brush. And you're going to get a lot more of it. Like I can sit here for a while because I've gotten a bigger brush and it's got a bigger belly in it. But is it as wispy? No, not at all. So you would still want the other one on hand, right? Like I still would. And that's why I have so many, because if I wanted this look, I got that look with that brush, but I can't get that exact look with this brush, but I can also get this look with this brush. So I need them all, right? And then you can lay the belly down and literally, get that like grassy look. So that's a little different. Now let's get the big guy. This does everything. So we're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. So right now, first I'm going to do the green. So we've got our belly loaded with paint and just put it here. So you're going to notice the color is deeper and more vivid. And you're going to notice that it goes very, very thin and thick. So it is a learning curve to get all of these different brush strokes, but look at the beautiful perfection of how it delivers as compared to the other brushes. So do you see like how you get the depth of color plus the really different textures? You get like 2 different size textures out of this brush just by using this brush. And the hand of it is nice. The barrel, is easy to hold on to. And then, of course, we can just get our little grounding, just that easy, and get some dry brush effect out of rubbing it lightly. But I can still go back and sit there and just boop 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 and just blend and just do more stuff. So you can see how they act so differently. You can get such different effects to them. So now let's look at like building a flower with this brush, because I build a lot of flowers with this brush, right? So say I take some lemon yellow. This is the lemon yellow from Mission Gold. And let's just build a cool little loose flower. So I'm just kind of looping the petals around like that. Beautiful. So easy. And I can also do a nice stalk. Now let's change the color so you can see it better. I'm going to add a little green to the bottom. I'm going to come out and I can build my leaves, and you can't see because I have something in the way. So I've got 1 stroke leaves. Isn't that great? Whether you do short or long stroke leaves, it gives you a lot of different options and lots of shapes where you can go thicker, thinner, and they don't all look the same, which is so lovely, right? And then we can even go back and we can take a 2-tone with this brush. And we can build out all different kinds of other flowers. Just by using the tip of the brush. Isn't that great? So easy. Then you can also come over here and you can use the tip to build out another kind of flower and like just add leaves to it. So if you like loose flowers, this is a great way to do it. So see how interesting it is? And look at the color. Look how much color there is. Crazy color, right? I can even like come in here and maybe we'll choose, let's pick up some of that beautiful red, like permanent rose. And we'll just come in and go over the same one. It's actually really fun to do little crazy flowers like that. I mean, it just does a lot, right? So the weight and the quality of the brush really makes a huge difference. And how you use the brush makes a huge difference. All right, so that's quality versus different kinds of brushes. Let's go ahead and look at these brushes one more time here on these charts and just see if there's anything else. So really quickly, the angular brush is another one that I showed you I use a lot. I use that for swatches, but it also does great leaves. It does really beautiful flowers. I can show you something here that I've done with this one. And you can literally load the lower half of the brush and the upper half of the brush with two different colors. So say I load the bottom half with one color and the top half with another color. And then I don't know where I'm going to put it, but maybe here. Is there another page? Let's see. Hang on. I'm going to get another page. Here we go. So whether you use the brush loading this way or this way, it doesn't matter, but it will do a different shape each time. So you want to just drag the brush and come up like that, and then down like that. And you literally, it's got so much paint on it right now. Hang on. If you're doing this way and this way, see that? So again, you can do this way and this way. And just flip your page around. And I'm just kind of building it. So whichever way you go, it's going to do the same thing pretty much. But let me get some of this off. Another thing that you can do with this brush, with an angular, is you can build out flowers like just by flipping the brush. And I do show a lot of this in the watercolor flowers for beginners class and also the spontaneous watercolor class. So this makes kind of like those really neat angular shapes on your flowers. Another great thing you can do with this is the petals. So let's grab one of our bright greens here. So say I'm gonna just pull a shape out. So there's one. Another one you can do is just by twisting a brush like this, just like that. So I just twisted it. And let's grab a different color. You can come up and do those long shapes. So lots of different options with this brush, right? There's also, if you wanted to load two different colors to it, so I get some blue and green together, you can do those drags like that with the different colors. Have you seen those? So like different shapes that you can do when you have the different color like right on the inside. I think those are really cool because you can turn them into like all kinds of things, you know, like just build them up just by turning your brush. The angular one does that really well. Another thing it does is my watercolor swatches. That's how I do these watercolor swatches that are under here. So these layered ones, I actually do them with this brush. So I just kind of work a nice layer into the paper with this brush, going back and forth. And I have a nice smooth wash. And if I wanted to build up the wash, then you just build up more color. So angular and flat brushes are great for this. I like the angular for this because it's my hand is at that side, you know what I mean? And specifically the angular shader by Princeton Aqua Elite, it just does really well on light layers because it doesn't give it too much water. It's easy to control. So again, you know, there's a value to every brush. Every brush has a value. What else do I have here? So another good brush is these ones with the sea glass handles. These are Princeton Neptune. So they are like the squirrel brushes. I love them. They come in a lot of sizes. There's a set that they offer that has this 1/2 inch one in it, which is a great set. So I think it's like $30 or $40 and you get like 3 or 4 brushes. I think there's 4 brushes. I actually purchased the other larger ones because I love using these on bigger sheets. They're really awesome. I also love this one, which is the Aqua Elite Mottler brush. I literally use this one to death. You know, it's like, it is actually chipping, but it's been years and I've left it in water and everything. I don't find that the lacquer on the Escodas come off at all. I did find that the lacquer on the Da Vinci comes off. I don't know why, but like on the Da Vinci, the lacquer splits a little bit. Can you see? Like sometimes if you use it a lot in the water, it did split on me. But again, Jackson stands by all their products. So if anything should happen to anything and you're using Jackson's and going through my affiliate, I have a contact and you can email them directly and just let them know and they'll replace it or give you a refund. And if you have any problem, well, you just contact me and I will definitely get you some help. So it's good to buy through Jackson's because, you know, it's just, you know, people who know people. So here is the Aqua, you know, this is the Neptune. The thing I like about this brush is the distribution of water and color. And I find that I get these really beautiful washes that are so easily applied with this brush. I don't really get this with the other brushes because I didn't really buy any brushes for this purpose with the flat. I have flat brushes by Escoda that are there for different purposes. So I don't really have a comparative for you. I do have lots of other brushes that are similar. So like for instance, Winsor Newton makes one with a clear handle. This is not like the Neptune. The Neptune holds way more water. This one is somewhere in between the Aqua Elite and yeah, I don't know. It doesn't like, you know what? I don't even recommend that brush. I don't even recommend that brush. Let me get you one that I would recommend. I recommend this one. So this is the Bright brush. It is a flat by Escoda. It's available in the green set. So there's a set of brushes that is green, and it is actually one of my favorite sets because it's got this bright brush. It has the Barocco. That's this beautiful pointed, really, really interesting brush. This is so much fun to use, by the way. I really enjoy that one. And then it comes with a great little liner brush. This is, again, the green set. So the green set comes in a pouch. I wish I had the pouch out, but you know what? I put it away. I don't have it. But it comes in a little cute canvas pouch, and these are those travel brushes. So literally, they go into these cute little tubes, and you can just pop them in that canvas pouch. So this set I love for everything. I mean, I can do florals and everything with. Me personally, I don't really need any brushes past this. I can actually paint everything with these. But personally, I just love this brush, so I don't give it up. I use it for everything. But this is kind of like a little mini version of this brush. This one is the Ultimo. So having, this is the Versatile, which holds a little less water than the Ultimo, but this is a much larger brush, right? So sorry about the zoom. I just noticed that my camera's just like going crazy right now because I'm so close. But the Ultimo holds a lot of water, so you can get a smaller size and almost hold as much water as like a Versatile would hold in a larger size. Not this big, but you know what I mean. So, but that's a really great brush set. And that gives you a flat. So to see the performance of this flat, it doesn't hold as much water as the Neptune does, but it's going to give you a nice amount. So you can see, let me load it with water here. So I can put down the water. I don't find it to be as easy to use for this particular thing as the wash brush, that Neptune wash brush. I just love it. I really do. I love the way it's just so even, but at the same time, it will do the job. And this you can then use for other things. So like if you have this, I can use this for florals and stuff like that easily, but you can use this too. And you notice that they're very, very similar as far as what they're able to wash and do. Um, so, you know, you can do both. So if you wanted a set, I'm just saying, and you wanted to go with the Skoda, you could get a full set of brushes and have a beautiful, like, big belly with a tip in a round, a script brush, and a flat brush. Not huge brushes, but again, they're really, really versatile, and the ability to use them on everything is great. So that's an option. Otherwise, the Neptune comes in a set, and this set is a great set because it gives you a little variety of brushes from rounds. There's always like different things in it, you know. I believe in that set also there is a oval wash, which is a very cool brush to have. Oval washes, they do a lot of interesting things, and they're on my list as well. So you can see like the natural round mop brush can do circles. The round points can do these little squiggly lines. The fan brushes can do trees, as well as like they can do a lot of brush and texture. Shader, which is the flat brush, can also do washes or glazes, depending on the bristle type, I would say. Then moving over to like down further, it just shows like the bright or the bristles, depending on what they're made out of, will give you that texture. So I happen to like the ones that I use because I can mix up the texture. I'm not stuck on one texture, you know? And I think that's important for a brush when you're choosing. I love the dagger brushes too. Dagger brushes are really fun to use. They have, I don't know any of the sets that have a dagger brush. I think you have to buy them individually. But there are some really great ones out there. Dagger brushes will do, you know, just all kinds of fun little leaves and things like that. And sometimes you can paint petals and flowers and just do a lot with dagger brushes. So I tend to like the angular ones. I think that those are really fun to have, and everybody should have at least one, maybe two. The hockey brushes are terrific, but they're more for like very large, very loose applications, as well as these, you know, these lower brushes on here. Those are more like Japanese or Asian style, and they're just a much different technique. I wouldn't really encourage anyone to mess with those until you master the script brush, the round brush, the dagger. You know, you don't need to get anything fancy like triangular brushes or anything like that. I would definitely just get these sets, you know. So the green set, there's also other sets that they make. There's a black set, a blue set. They all have a different thing. So be sure to ask me if you really want to know what these sets do, and I'll get on here. I know I've reviewed all of the sets before, so I do know there are other videos of me using all of the sets. And let's just show you what this one does. So this is an oval wash. Oval washes are great for florals. They're great for just so many things. So first of all, if you load your oval wash brush with pigment, and I have way too much pigment on this brush right now. This is just so, I need a mixing palette, don't I? This is, I have like no mixing palette anywhere. Wait, where? Here we go. Ha. Okay. I got way too much paint. I just filled these pans and so they're going crazy right now. They're not dry enough and I dip my brush in and I get all this paint. There we are. So a great thing to have is a mixing palette on hand. I like the ceramic ones, or these Schminke tins are really wonderful because they work so well. Okay, so a Nova wash. So one thing you can do with a Nova wash, of course, is use the tip of the Nova wash. So it's very versatile. If you wanted to do some of those textures that we were looking at before, you have that. You also have the ability to do like floral kind of like these kind of strikes to build up stuff like that. So if you have like these little flowers in a field, you can do it very easily. You can do petals. So if you just drag and lift, it will give you a nice shape on a petal with an interesting, now that interesting thing will only happen on certain brushes. It happens on this Neptune because it holds enough water. If it didn't hold enough water, you would not get the same effect. So let's just, for the sake of looking, go with the Princeton Aqua Elite Oval Wash. Doesn't matter what size it is because it's still going to give you a different effect. So let's load this brush with paint. Okay. And we're going to lay it down, drag, and lift it up. See, completely different. It didn't finish it because it doesn't hold enough water. So I actually have to go back and finish it. And so then we end up with a different look, right? That I can keep going over if I wanted to. Much different, but still good, right? You just have to think about how to use it. So I just got to go back. But this one does it in one stroke because it holds a lot of water. So you literally get a full stroke, you know? And then you can curve it. You can do anything you want with them. I think it's just lovely. I love what it does in the center. I think it's neat. Another thing you can do with this brush is also you can build out your leaves just by twisting. Gives you a different shape. You can also, whoops, I'm almost out of color. Do this way and this way. To get nice transparent flowers with a nice center base. And then give it a little variation in color here. Cool, right? So again, very easy. And another good thing with this, which would also be the filber. The filber brush does the same thing, but I think the cat's tongue is more versatile than a filber brush. You can use this to do like roses or those kind of flowers just by using the side edge of it. Isn't that great? Then use the tip and then just try and experiment with your pretty easy, right? I know. These are good. So see the side, if I hit the side, it gives me something different. So literally I can just kind of hit the side and bend it around. I teach a lot of this really in the Florals for Beginners and the Spontaneous Watercolor class. Both of those have really amazing florals and things you can do with different brushes different paints, different techniques. They're really fun classes to take because they just show you so many things you can paint. You know what I mean? And they just keep you occupied. And it's like 10-minute sessions, so you can always do them. You never really run out of time or feel like you're not coming out with something. You come out with something every single lesson. You come out with something just fun that you're pretty proud of, you know? Um, yeah, so you could also do like kind of rounder shapes with this just by turning it. So that's pretty cool for, a brush that's not a big round, but I think it does pretty good circles, fairly easily. And other things you could do with it would be like using it a little like striked on its side just a little deeper, and you would get a pointed, like a pointed thicker stroke. And then as the layers dry, you just go over it, so like this is starting to dry, so I can literally go over it and just kind of give my flower just more personality, maybe a different layer of colors, which is also something Mission Gold does well, by the way. If you notice, I'm still using Mission Gold because it's just so much fun. I mean, it layers so well. I can go over this stuff over and over and over again and add colors to it. And it just, like, look, this is one color and I'm adding more pink. It just layers. It really does. And then this was more mass tone because I had so much on my brush. So I'll just grab some off of here. And you can do little shapes. Yeah, with a brush like this, very easy. Very, very easy to play with, And again, just use the brush. Use the brush. There you go. You have all different kinds of shapes. I like the variety of texture that it gets on a one down, just a one lay here. I mean, like I'm just basically tapping and it just never runs out of water. It never runs out of color. It's great. I love this one. This is great. And it comes in a set too, so you can have a few of them for like $30. Should we see how much they are right now? Let's go look. I'm going to pull it up and see. I have these in my Amazon store, and they're also available on Jackson's, so we can check it out and see what we're doing here. I have so many screens open right now, but I will find it for you. So we'll go on the the Amazon main website for the US Neptune brush set. And here we go. So let's switch. There we are. Okay, so the Neptune brush set, as you can see. So one of them comes with, so for $40, you get the one here on the right side is the flat with 3 rounds. So you have a like really small round that could be used as a script basically. And then the a little bit larger round, and then a nice size 3/4 inch wash brush, which I was showing you earlier. Then this one in the center here, this one has a nice mottler brush. In the Neptune, I really like that brush actually. It's really nice to use, and it comes with a round and the flat brush that I showed you, and also a quill brush for $41. And then this one here is the one that I was mainly talking about to you, which has the cat's tongue brush. It has the flat, a very, very large round with a large belly, and then the size 4 round. So that was the specific one I was telling you about, and that is $33. Don't worry about the shipping because if you're in the US, you wouldn't have to pay shipping. But if you are not in the US, then you would want to go over to Jackson's and buy this brush. And I left an affiliate link for you to do that. So pretty cool, right? So there we go. That's my brush review for now. I went over quite a few of them. If you guys have any, what palette of color are you using? Oh, I was actually, this one is my Schminke palette, but I wasn't using the watercolor from here. I was using the Mission Gold set. So let me show it to you. It is on sale right now over at Jackson's, and you can look through my affiliate link to see it. It's beautiful. I absolutely love these watercolors. They glaze well. They have really, really bright colors, especially in the red and violet range. They have gorgeous blues like peacock blue and cobalt turquoise, really nice cobalts. There's two of them, one with a little bit of phthalo in it, and then the other just flat cobalt. Their Prussian is gorgeous. They don't dry matte. If you notice, they dry brilliant. So they're really pretty. They're Hooker's green. So there's two sets that you're seeing here. One comes with a palette. They're all the gold paints, and the other one is the pure pigment set. So the pure pigment set is just a set of colors that just has pure pigments in them. But things like Viridian come in both sets. But Bamboo Green is from the pure pigment set, which I love. I have a lot of people that are buying both sets. One comes with a nifty palette, which is kind of fun if you don't have a palette. But I love their range of pinks and reds. They're so beautiful and they just don't fade. And you can get like really light shades to very dark shades. Okay, well, have a great day, you guys. I hope this was helpful to you. Sorry if it went a little long, but I like to take my time and really just kind of dig in a little deeper on some of these things so that you have the option of just learning not only some nifty strokes, but seeing what you can do with the brushes and maybe opening your eyes to some different possibilities for the future, or even just to build up your own brush set and your technique skills. Also, please don't forget to come over and take some lessons with me over at JacquelineJacks.com. I would love to see you in the courses. You have full support from me, as well as a group page of over 31,000 people that you can show off your work to and get feedback from. So we're in there every single day, just having fun. Have a great one, you guys, and happy painting.